Hello, my name is Paul Mardell. Work for NWF as the technical manager. This is the second part of our series of films on sheep nutrition. The first section we were looking at dry matter intakes of pre-lambing ewes, looking at the nutrition in terms of energy and protein. Now we're back at the same unit and we're just going to take a look at post-lambing and lambing nutrition. So we talked in our previous video, we talked about our pre-lambing diet, making sure that we met our dry matter intake requirement for forage, making sure that we were balanced for energy and protein. And that's really important to make sure that we get all those things right when we're in the run up to lambing. We need to keep our ewes in good body condition up to lambing, and also we need to make sure that we're supplying the correct levels of protein and energy and dry matter of forage so that they have plenty of colostrum and milk when the lambs are born. So when these lambs are born, they are they're born into quite a harsh environment in terms of what they've been used to. So they've been in the womb for the last 147 days, and when they're born, they're obviously coming from a temperature of 39 degrees out into the open. So they do have some brown fat reserves that they do utilise when they are first born. But one of the main things that we really do need to get into these newborn lambs is colostrum. And why is colostrum so important? Well, when these lambs are born, they're born what we call very naive, so they have no active immune system. And therefore there's no passive transfer between the ewe and the lamb while that animal is within the womb. And the way that we can get those antibodies and that immunity build up into the lamb is via the colostrum. It's packed full of antibodies, it's packed full of hormones, it's full of energy, there's some protein in there, there's also, it does work as a bit of a laxative as well, so it'll make that lamb go to the toilet and get rid of that meconium that it's had inside its guts, so it sort of gets the guts going as well. Not only that, it's full of minerals and vitamins as well, so really important that we get this colostrum into this lamb as quickly as possible. And when we're talking about colostrum quality, we can somehow dictate that through pre-lambing, through the feeding. So that's why it's so important. Also, when we're looking at colostrum in the newborn lamb, we want to try and get that colostrum into the lamb within the first 4 to 6 hours. And that's really important because during that time, all the sort of the transfer nodules within the gut are shutting down as time goes by. So it's really important that we get that colostrum into them. And when we're talking about colostrum in terms of volume, we're looking for about 50 ml of colostrum per kilo of body weight. So if we're looking at a lamb sort of 4 to 5 kilos, then we're looking for about 200 to 250 ml of colostrum within that first 4 to 6 hours. Over a 24-hour period, we're looking for that lamb to take about 850 to 900 millilitres of colostrum in total. So that's really important that we try and get that in there as soon as possible. And in terms of colostrum, how long will it last for within the ewe, or how long does she produce colostrum for? It does depend on the ewe. It depends on her pre-lambing nutrition. So we got this haylage analysed again a couple of weeks ago, just in preparation for lambing, and it has changed slightly. So it's just over 50% dry matter, 14.2 protein, and energy was 10.2, and it's quite soft, it's quite nice to the feel, and it's been well fermented. Lactic was pretty low at about 50, but and pH was probably a little bit on the high side at 4.5, but all in all pretty well fermented. In terms of the compound, we're feeding classic ewe, which is an 18% protein, got good levels of bypass protein in there, and it's been feeding really well. Ewes have got plenty of milk, plenty of colostrum, and the lambs have grown really well this year. So overall, really pleased. So after 36 hours or 24 hours, depending on the pressure, they will then go with their lamb or lambs, and they'll go into a larger pen, again, where they'll be fed concentrate and ad lib silage. Concentrate will go up slightly, and we may go up to about 1.1 to 1.2 kilos. Ideally we'd try and split that over 3 feeds, but of course time pressure and labour, that might have to come back to 2 feeds. And what we're trying to do there is we're trying to maximise their energy intake and their protein intake. At this critical point, they will start to lose a little bit of condition, but if they're in good order, that's okay. Their energy and protein requirement will increase, and you'll probably be looking for between 35 to 38 megajoules of energy, and over 300 grams of NP. And that should give us roughly about 2.5 to 3 litres of milk, which is more than enough to sustain twins. What we tend to find is that twins will certainly yield more milk than a single, and that could be up to 30 to 40% more. So it's all about a bit of supply and demand. Obviously with twins there is a huge demand for milk, so if that demand is called upon, then the ewe will keep manufacturing milk to sustain her lambs. Obviously with a single, although they are slightly bigger, the requirement for the ewe to produce milk is a lot less. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Paul Mardell, NWF Technical Manager. If you need any further information on feeding pre-lambing ewes and post-lambing ewes, or for a forage analysis, please speak to your local advisor.